Google Gemini had a real problem generating historically accurate images. Let's put it that way. The first that really hit the scene were founding fathers. That one looks like a Native American, one looks like a black man, one kind of looks like Bill Cosby a little bit with some hair, and then one was an Asian man.
It's like the Gemini creators got all their history lessons from Hamilton the musical. Like, this is it, guys.
So, and then the Pope one was fun too. Go over to the Pope one.
Oh, I love the Pope one.
Yeah, we have an Indian woman as the Pope and an African man. Which, hey, if it's Cardinal Sarah,
If we have a pope from sub-Saharan Africa, there's like a 98% chance it would be a massive improvement.
oh, no question.
But I do think it's kind of funny, like founding fathers, like this whole, Google IA project, this dystopian hell that it is, they just have a certain principle here. White man equals evil. And everything else flows from that.
Yep.
But I was looking into what Google's justification for this was because, I mean, it was so obvious that this was like the worst PR possible that they shut down the image generator. And we'll get into some of the text prompts too, which are maybe even more insidious in some ways. But Google said that Google might have been adding ethnic diversity terms to use prompts, quote, under the hood. In that case, a prompt like portrait of a chief could become portrait of a chief who is indigenous. In this scenario, appended terms might be chosen randomly, and prompts could also have had terms appended. And then the other possibility is that Google could have also been giving higher priority to displaying generated images based on darker skin tone. So, for example, if it generated 10 images for each prompt, Google would have the system analyze the skin tone of people depicted in images and push images of people with darker skin higher up in the queue. So if Gemini only displays the top 4 images, the darker skinned examples are most likely to be seen. And I have one quote that maybe sums up this entire thing. Quote, once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free, but that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them. That's Frank Herbert with Dune.
I did want to point out, doing some research on the stats, Google has an enormous social impact and an ability to shape the way people think and receive information. And I mean, I was looking up the stats in the public schools, 85% before the pandemic, 85% of American public schools had programs with Google Chromebook, which means that their students are using Google, which in all of their search engines are based on AI. People are like, oh, but those aren't AI. Yeah, it's all based on AI because it's you put in your thought and they try and figure out exactly what you're asking and get you the most relevant, the most socially acceptable answers to your questions. And this is a huge number. Today, we have over 50 million students and teachers using them every day in the classroom. And this is an enormously influential group of people who are basically like coming up with this Gemini program, and you're like, this is a problem.
Yeah, they're generated results. I mean, the thing is, people who don't think Google uses AI already, it's like you start typing into a browser, and it's like you start typing in the word like Detroit, like DETR, it starts autofilling Detroit, like tigers, lions, Institute of Art. What is yeah, like there's some guy on the keyboard batting that out for you? No, of course. I mean, they're generating results based on what they think you're going to say. I mean, like people get out, come on, wake up.
And they have not taken down the AI programs for the text prompts. Yeah, so we get Peter Hassen here. Google Gemini AI invented fake negative reviews about my 2020 book about Google's left-wing bias. Oh, whoa, look at that. And they were not only negative fake reviews, but they were fake reviews from people who are allies and friends of Peter Hassen, right, who actually had given positive reviews. If you have a copy of the book, look in the back of the dust jacket. These people actually liked the book, and Google goes ahead and generates these. So again, in a society where the vast majority of people are getting their information from Google AI.
All this AI stuff, plus, you get deepfake videos.
Oh, I was just thinking that.
So Americans really need to be discerning that over the course of the next 10 months or whatever, as we have this presidential debate, and all these things are at stake, you might see a video and you might even agree with it. It might agree with your priors, as they say. It might be a video about Biden and he sounds like he's stuttering and saying the dumbest thing in the world. And it's like, now hold on a second. He does stutter and he is kind of an idiot right now and he should just retire because he's 1,000 years old. But that might be a deep fake. So you got to be careful on some of this stuff, like there's deep fakes against Trump. All these there's videos out there that's like, okay, that's actually not real.
Can't you just see your high schooler being like, I have to write a paper on like, political movements and communism. So they start typing into Google, who is worse, Mao or Donald Trump? But here we have Abigail Schreier or Mao, and Google AI Gemini is like, it's hard to say who negatively impacted society more. Mao Zedong, guys, he was responsible for somewhere upwards of 50 million, as many as 80 million deaths in China. Abigail Schreier wrote a book, Irreversible Damage, that is against gender affirming care.
Well, what's the money line, Erica? It's both have been accused of harming society in significant ways because those are exactly the same.
Oh my gosh, the same line came out when someone asked Gemini to compare Joseph Stalin with libertarians in the United States. Same line. Both have been accused of harming society. So these were much more chilling to me.